Welcome back. Now, is it a teacher's job to potty train your child, or should the responsibility be on parents? In a poll by early years charity Kindred Squares, teachers said that 25% of children, get this, aren't potty trained.
Yes, and when it comes to educating those children, 48% of parents said they aren't concerned if teachers are toilet training rather than teaching by the time they're in reception. So whose responsibility is it to potty train? We are going to talk about that now because former teacher David Lewis says it's an inevitable part of the job. But Matt Green, known as the rapping science teacher, we all know is that, argues it's lazy parenting. Now, I'm going to come to you first of all, David, because I can't imagine how challenging it is. It feels like teachers are asked to do everything these days. So you've got youngsters coming into school and now not only teaching them, you're potting training them. If we're talking about kids in reception, are you surprised that it's 25% of them that are arriving in school?
Well, first of all, let me say it's a delicate one to talk about at 8:15 in the morning, isn't
Right.
it? But I will say that with parents being as busy as they are now, I wonder if it's an inevitable part of modern-day life that parents do not have the time to do when both parents are working so hard that potentially not all the potty training should be done. I'm not here to say that all kids should be going to school, doing whatever they want, not toilet trained even remotely, but I'm saying it's an inevitable part. It's a hangover from people being so busy these days.
It's the you're saying it's the reality of parenting these days, that they're not doing it in a sense.
Would be my opinion.
And there are also some youngsters who have genuine medical issues, aren't there?
Of course, and that's a separate thing, and that's a very serious thing. But my point alone was that it feels like an inevitable part of people not having quite enough time. I will say this, that in makeup 10 minutes ago, the ladies there were appalled by my opinion.
Everybody is surprised.
I will say that there is an inevitable part that is just how it is.
Do you accept that we just live in a world now where parents are busy, under pressure? There has been a huge increase as well since COVID, in lockdown, where patterns have changed and things have been different. Youngsters coming into school, we know that from teachers. What do you think?
I say we're busier and parents are always going to be time stretched. But, you know, we've got our key things we need to do for our kids. We've got key things we need to look after. And toilet training is one of them. I'm a parent of 3 kids and we made sure all our kids were toilet trained before they went to school. And this has been time stretched. We both work full-time. We were growing a business at the time. I'm not saying it's not hard for parents, but we want to make sure we're sending to our kids to school prepared. We don't want them to feel isolated. It's not a nice feeling wetting yourself and not being trained and seeing your other friends be OK. And also, from a teacher's perspective, you know, I've been a teacher in a school for 10 years, and my wife, she was a nursery teacher. And if you're taking time out of your day, instead of educating kids, having to change nappies when they could be doing it themselves...
But that's the impact on kids and on other kids learning. Teacher time. You know, David, I have a friend, we both have a friend that runs a school's trust.
OK.
I mean, when a child isn't potty trained, the amount of time that's spent and devoted on that child impacts the full classroom, right? That's why it's a family and a parent's responsibility.
I am with you that it is imperfect, there's no question. I'm not here to say that it's the teacher's job entirely, and I would agree with most of the stuff you're saying. I'm just saying it is a part of modern life that it is a difficulty to do everything.
I mean, I'm going to push you a bit because you're sort of rowing back. I mean, it's an excuse. I mean, and the idea that, you know, parents are too busy... I mean, some people at home might say they're not too busy, they're just lazy, right?
Well, that might be true. Look, in our case, we've done our absolute best to do potty training, and they're in a perfectly good state to go. I'm just saying, for some people, it's not quite as straightforward. If both parents are working all hours that God gives, they can do it up to a point really, really well, right? I'm just saying it's not the responsibility of anyone to do it. I'm just saying if it does happen, that's a part. And if it's not a life skill, a teacher's potentially there to teach lots of different things beyond academia, right? So I wonder if there is an element of that.
I understand what you're saying. Matt, it does feel like... There does feel as though something has changed, though, isn't there? What I was surprised about in this is that nearly half of parents said they weren't worried about teachers doing the potting training, whereas you can understand that maybe things have gone wrong, but it feels like a shift in attitudes that parents are significantly not seeing it as their responsibility.
Well, I think as parents, it's always going to be our responsibility as a teacher. You know, there are going to be things outside of academia you might do every now and again. You know, if I've got extra food in my class, kids come by and they're starving and they say, "Oh, sir, can I have some of that?" As a teacher, there's all sorts of things we're going to do in the nurturing things to help kids. And if I'm a nursery teacher, every now and again, a kid's going to come in and have wet themselves and we're going to help them. But it should not be the expectation that they come into school for the teachers to train them how to do that. That's the one that lays squarely on the parents. But it might happen every now and again.
Well, gosh, what's your attitude towards parents, or, as David said, you know, don't have time, that bring their kids to school that aren't potty trained? I mean, or your wife who has been a reception teacher. Do you get angry at those parents and frustrated?
Well, I'm never going to judge other parents, but when you have kids, it's your responsibility to take care of them, right? And we got to have a way to do all the things that we can to make sure they're equipped for life. Toilet training is one of them. There are going to be obscure circumstances that could be medical where they can't come to school toilet trained.
But the point is, parents are too busy nowadays. I mean, what's your attitude?
Too busy to take care of kids?
I'm not saying too busy to train your kids to potty train, right? Everything you're saying, I agree with, right? I'm saying it is fundamentally, it is upon the parents, most of all, to do that work. But I'm just saying sometimes when it falls upon, it's a difficult situation and it happens, that might be just a
part of life. And then you have to make the best of it. Look, we asked everybody at home if teachers should potty train kids. That was our Twitter poll. 3% said yes. 97% said no. So there's a lot of parents out there who don't want teachers to be in that position. Really good to have you both on this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
And watch your science wrapping. It's absolutely brilliant.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I absolutely love it. It's competition time, and there's a prize worth £100.